What's up with the YouTube? Kobe NBA West, another video. Human nature, human psychology from a black male perspective. That is not a disclaimer. That's just to indicate to the viewer what my intentions are, what my aims are, what my target audience that I'm shooting for is, the demographic that I want to reach. So if you're gonna drop me a line saying, hey, this affects white folks and it affects Americans as a whole, that's cool. Let white folks and Americans as a whole make their own videos. As far as this video is concerned, it's human nature, human psychology from a black male perspective. With that said, let's get into the video. What happens when you take away the natural laws of checks and balances in human society? What happens when accountability shifts from personal to political? I believe the current black community on aggregate would be the concise answer to the questions that I just posed. It seems as though the transformation, the perpetual degenerative slide from one black generation to the next has a myriad of contributing factors, but the black male, of course, is the black community's all-time favorite scapegoat for the community's ills. But the cold part about it is no one has a problem accepting that as the only reason for the community's failures. And the black women ask me, how come I never talk about the men? Ah, damn. In actuality, the reason for these failures is due to a lack of order regarding interpersonal relationships between black men and black women. Think about that shit for a minute. I don't mean order in regards to men being placed over women. I'll save that for another video. I mean order in the accountability, responsibility sense. Black women in our community are rewarded for the lack of accountability when the men are punished, taught to accept group guilt, and fall into mass submission to women. This formula leaves our community in disrepute relative to other ethnic communities. A lot of black boys, and I heard this mentioned I think in Thug Tishan's video, but I wanted to expound on it and make sure I mention it in this one. A lot of black boys are indoctrinated by single mothers into believing that they have to right to make-believe wrongs his father or other men before him did to her or to women in general. There's never any alternative to the story. Just men are bad, they cause all the problems. Nice and simple, cut and dry, black and white. That way there's no thinking involved. Women say shit like, he needs to keep it in his pants, or he should wear a condom, or men need to step up and be responsible. The pattern here is the responsibility is the man's duty and not hers as well. Now, why do women love to pretend as if they play no role in their own situation? No one ever ponders the woman's decision to become pregnant when she knows not only does she have an unfit father impregnating her, but also she herself is an unfit mother. The first thing out of a woman's mouth regarding men and children, more than likely, is child support. Stop and think about it for a second. The woman who made the decision to become pregnant by allowing the man to impregnate her has no means of supporting the child, let alone herself. Yet society tells a man in the very same predicament, well, you should have thought about that before you got her pregnant, buddy. Legally, he's forced to financially contribute, or he can go to jail. The woman, on the other hand, is treated as a victim and rewarded for her mindless, irresponsible behavior. Accountability is something women don't have to worry about when it comes to children. The large majority of women have no legal financial obligations to their children. No one can argue with that. And you wonder why these women are more than willing to become pregnant and have no problem with letting some dude they meet in the club impregnate them. The point here is women only want to be equal when it benefits them. The lesson in all of this is that when it comes to the old carrot and stick routine, the U.S. government gives the women the carrot and the men the stick over their head. Women are rewarded for the same choices that negatively impact men. So they're both making the same choices, but women get rewarded and men are negatively impacted. Women have all the choices in society, men do not. But you won't find any women that's going to protest against that. Whenever one group is catered to, privileged, and their personal made political, i.e. feminism, then you can expect their attitudes to reflect that. This is where much of the unmerited disdain for black men originates from with a lot of black women, in my opinion. The same things that they accuse us, it's like the same things they accuse us of, they're amenable for those same things themselves. The black woman's need for control at the expense of order in the black community. I don't want to get too excited here, because this stuff is coming off the top of my head. It's like that's why the black women don't put as much emphasis on being a good wife as they do a strong, independent diva. This is human psychology. Disease brings the diva me centric attitude into check. This is human nature. What do I mean? In nature you have order. If you tamper with the order, the balance of the order rather, then you have a price to pay. Disease is the only real punishment that affects both genders equally. Political correctness and feminism hold no sway over nature in this regard. Yet black women still want to place blame for their personal conduct on black men, their actions never being analyzed or called into question. Until their thinking changes, that lesson is going to continue to pass them by every time. Unlike many women, men do not believe that they are the center of the universe. So the black man's constant public acknowledgement of his failures over the past 40 years has given him a keen insight when it comes to recognizing shortcomings and limitations and repetitive behaviors endemic to black women. If you ever want to grasp the bigger picture, then you must not only know the shortcomings of others, but you have to know your own shortcomings as well. Black women, if you only apply your perspective on reality to what you know about black men and never consider what they're actually telling you, then I assure you your quest for understanding them will remain stagnant. Black men, you have to get beyond the I'm a good brother, I'm not a thug. You got to get beyond that phase and come into the understanding of the way human nature affects human psychology and vice versa, and the way it affects a woman's psychology and thereby affecting her decision-making process. What I'm saying is, until you know your enemy, you'll get your ass beat every time. West Coast.